Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. An extra edition or a special edition, according to Wikipedia, of news, of something that couldn't wait until the next edition of the newspaper. Perhaps it was just something that was sensational or something that arrived too late for the regular edition, but it was important. Now, does anybody know what the extra in terms of the newspaper edition replaced? If you have a minute, you can go to Wikipedia and you can find out. The broadside. The broadside was a sheet, one-page sheet that was printed on only one side and was intended to be pasted onto buildings and poles and any place in public where people could see. It started in the mid-19th century, or actually the extra started in the mid-19th century with the selling of newspapers, but the broadside was along for many decades and centuries before that. And with the development of radios, extra became obsolete in the 1930s, and in areas that had good new radio coverage, it replaced with these breaking news bulletins. And I watch CNN, and I'm sick and tired of breaking news bulletins. Breaking news. Good Christian friends, rejoice with heart and soul and voice. Give ye heed to what we say. News, news. Jesus Christ is born today. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills, and everywhere. And let a little drop of heaven come to earth. Bring sweet joy to this world. Let a little drop of heaven come down. Bring peace, love, and joy to this world. But have you ever wondered how long the angels had to stand there singing before somebody noticed? I often talk about this when I'm talking about the burning bush. I think that bush burned for a heck of a long time before somebody came along and actually noticed. It's the night shift. The shepherds. And there's a variety of scholars will say that shepherds in New Testament times were those that were on the fringes of society. They weren't that popular. And others will say, no, shepherds have a very good biblical background, or at least good shepherds. But it doesn't matter which it is, but when we place it in the context of Luke, it's not surprising that it's the shepherds who pay attention. It's the shepherds that find that unexpected and surprising news that's coming into the world. I mean, the shepherds form their own community of fellowship. They are also persons on the fringes, on the margins, who in spite of, or maybe because of their position, are able to receive and be transformed by the angel's message. When you think of it, Bethlehem was a place of bedlam, especially during the census. There was no room. Did anyone hear the baby cry from that cave? I wonder. There certainly was no one outside going extra, extra. Well, except the angels. The angels that sing and glorify the Lord. It seems counterintuitive to think such significant news news about the birth of a royal and political figure destined to change the world would be given to people like these shepherds, without much standing or significance, a marginalized group living under the authority of the Roman Empire. But then we remember it's Luke. Luke's themes of status reversal, where the lowly are exalted and the exalted are made low, it makes sense in this gospel, which seeks to disrupt the status quo, that the shepherds receive the good news about the birth of this little one. And whether the shepherds are viewed primarily as lowly figures or are held in high regard for their vigilance over their flocks, in Luke they are among the first to know and to do something with this news. They tell the world, they go and see for themselves. Everything changes. A number of years ago, I attended a continuing education event with the Reverend Dr. John McClure, a professor of homiletics, and he had a very interesting approach in the latest book that he was sort of pushing as he went around and talked to various groups. Otherwise preaching was the theme. And he suggests that maybe what we really need to do as preachers is to listen to those who are on the fringes. And he actually talks about a round table approach where the way that you gather the information about what you're preaching and the sermon and the topic is that you gather the folks that are on the fringes. Not you guys, not the people that are in the pews, but the people on the fringes. Maybe set up a table in Margaret's house. Or perhaps you have street workers. Or a person on parole. Or maybe even you just go to the prison. The homeless, the addict. Listen to what they are saying. What is their longings? What are they looking for from our God? Dietrich Bonhoeffer coined the phrase that I think sums this up. He says, it's a view from below. The view from this position helps us pay attention to the voices of the marginalized and calls us to work toward achieving social justice in our communities. The shepherds in Luke are transformed characters. As part of the community insiders, they are recipients of good news. They are able to comprehend the promised Messiah has arrived, and everything will be different. And because they are also outsiders, viewing things, as Bonhoeffer says, from below or from the margins, they see and believe what the powerful may be slow to recognize. A baby in a manger is the Messiah. They also return to their place, to their sheep. But they return transformed, and they convey that great, great joy. The French priest and philosopher Pierre de Desjardins wrote that joy is an infallible sign of the presence of God. Joy is a profound emotion that issues forth from the depth of our souls and comes from the Holy Spirit. All human beings experience happiness, but joy is the special gift given by God, the only source of our intense feeling. The stories of Christmas are nothing less than miraculous accounts of joy unspeakable and full of glory. and we are compelled to respond to the wonders of his love by echoing the words of that familiar Christmas carol. Joy to the world, the Lord has come. Let everything in heaven and nature sing. Exceeding great joy is what we celebrate tonight. Julie Clark wrote a hymn called Joy Pours Out. And I love the poetry that's in it. I want to close with this poem. Peace you leave me, peace you give me. A gift no one can give, a kind that fills your hearts and makes you sing. And from the first you have loved me, and I am in your keep. So home to your safe harbor take me. Won't you come and lay my weary heart down, down, where your peace flows wide at that river's mouth? Won't you come and lay my weary heart down, down, where your peace flows in and your joy pours out? You know I need a place to hide, and here I am again. Your quiet whisper leads me here, and here is where I remember that you led me here before. And oh, how I love knowing your name, where your peace flows in and your joy pours out. That's when the joy pours out. That's when the joy pours out. That's when the joy pours out. When the peace flows in and the joy pours out. Where your peace flows in and your joy pours out. Jesus, your peace flows in and your joy. Where your joy pours out. Tonight, may we be open to the teardrops of heaven, and may joy pour out into our lives and into our world. Amen.